Okay, today we're going to do a little drive along, a little ride along, and we're going to bring you all with us. We're going to take a little drive around the Tri-Cities and show you some of the hot spots where some of the cults are. And parked here in front of a church that didn't like us parking our truck in their parking lot at one point. They had a couple elders meet with me and beg me not to bring the truck back to their church. Yeah, the problem with a lot of these churches is they're really afraid to address the real issues. They're kind of like the media. You know, you hear a lot about terrorism. Israel's at war with Hamas, but you never hear them talk about the root of the real problem. The problem is Islam. Islam is the reason for terrorism. And a lot of these churches are the same way. They won't address Mormonism or Islam or anything. Matter of fact, the church where we're parked right now, a couple of years ago, we stopped in here. We went to a couple of their services, and at one point they were going through the book of Galatians. And when they started out the first chapter, of course, Apostle Paul says, if anybody comes and brings another gospel, even if it's from an angel from heaven, let him be accursed. And the guy that was speaking refused to even make mention of the fact that there are many different groups that fall in that category. He wouldn't mention any of them by name, and as a matter of fact, he went out of his way to say that, we could go down that rabbit hole, but we don't want to. We don't want to address any of the cults. And of course, they were highly offended that we drove our truck to the church that day, and we address all of them on the signs on our vehicle, including the LGBTQ crowd. So we're going to take you for a little ride along today and just show you some of the hot spots. The Tri-Cities is just full of Mormons, and you're going to see Mormon churches everywhere. But there's also a couple of Muslim mosques. We got a Hindu temple. We got a few Sikhs in town here. Lots of the LGBTQ crowd in Richland and other places. But anyway, here we go. So here in front of us on Bombing Range Road is the local Muslim mosque, the Islamic Center for the Tri-Cities. And off to the right here, they have plans to build another large building that's going to be more like a rec center. Because that mosque really, it looks pretty big from here, but it's not that big inside because it's got a hallway running down the middle of it, and then the prayer area, the sanctuary area, it really isn't that big.
This is where they plan on, like Dale said, enlarging it and using it for community events, and they plan to even rent it out for special events.
Yeah, like last year when they had the Ramadan gathering for the Tri-Cities, there were too many people to fit in that mosque, so they had to rent a larger building over in Kennewick, the Civic Center or something, I forget what it was.
Yeah, it's the community center, Southridge area of Kennewick.
Yeah. So then here, not even a half a mile down the road, we're going to see a Hindu temple. Now, I don't know how many years it's been now. When they had their grand opening, they had $50,000 worth of idols that they had brought over from India. And this is it right here. This is the Hindu temple. And we went to the grand opening. I got video of all their Hindu statues and idols and stuff. And they call them idols. They're not afraid of that at all.
And then you can see as we go down the hill here in the distance, one of the Mormon churches.
Yep.
With their little spire there, to where it makes them, the new model of 20 years ago or so, makes them look like every other Baptist church you might see.
All right, it's time for a little coffee break here. Get some coffee for an expedition through town. Okay, how's the coffee?
Just right.
Okay.
Here's a local Lutheran church here in Richland, out of the 60s, I believe.
Yeah, it's got that 60s design look about it.
Yep.
Now here in the old Uptown Plaza shopping center, they have this Emerald of Siam Thai restaurant, which hosts gay events or transgender events every few weeks. Directly across the street from the Uptown is the Mormon Church, probably one of the oldest churches around. Okay, we are now at Howard Amon Park, right here on the Columbia River in Richland. And they have the boat here today. This is a tour boat. It comes all the way up, I believe, from Portland up through the locks. A number of locks between here and there. I'm not sure how far it goes upstream from here. Probably not very far. A little chilly down here today.
Oh.
Yeah, that wind coming down the river. Little chill factor going on. Mosque. This is a good place to witness to anybody and everybody, though, because quite often the Jehovah's Witnesses are down here with their displays set up. Talk to them. See if you can talk some sense into them. It's pretty quiet down here today, but sometimes on the weekends in the summer it is jam-packed with people. So upstream is the Hanford Reach. Across the river is Pasco. Over that way is Kenek.
A new phase. Israel Defense Forces announcing its troops will expand operations into Gaza Friday night.
Okay, here we have the Mormon Temple. Actually, this is just the chapel here, but behind it is the temple. We'll drive around the parking lot here so we can get a good view of it. Looks like a lot of people here. Probably getting baptized in proxy for some dead folks. It's amazing what people won't do in the name of religion.
Yep, they got their bags there.
Some happy customers right there. Maybe they're having a wedding today or something. Being sealed for all of eternity. So they think. Yeah, some happy customers in Mormania. Okay, so we just got petrol at the Costco gas pumps. Yeah, we're going to be driving through the parking lot to get out of here. Now, this is kind of funny because several times Costco employees have come out and asked us to move our truck because of the sign that's in the back of it. And at one point, a lady came out. I was sitting in the truck waiting on Peggy while she was in shopping. A lady came out and says, you can't park here unless you're going to be shopping. I said, well, my wife is inside shopping, so I guess I'm going to be sitting here for a while. She didn't know what to do with that. She was a little frustrated. But the sign in the back of this truck drives people absolutely crazy.
Here's a good sign right here.
Somebody made a haul.
Oh, lady, just walk right out there.
Yeah, she didn't even look. Just walked right out in front of me. It's a good way to get run over. Here's another one. They don't even look. Wow. Well, no problem.
Sometimes people are looking for a lawsuit.
Yeah. Oh, mercy. It's a good thing we got four-wheel drive. Okay, I'm sure somebody will pitch a fit because we drove through the parking lot with a sign. Funny thing about
There's
that,
security
though,
right there.
there's all kinds of people that have signs on their vehicles. They never complain about their signs, just our signs. Okay, here we have the Kenek Library. They have a nice flower garden here. A lot of people come here just to walk through the flower garden. And the Jehovah's Witnesses are usually here in the summertime with a little display of books and propaganda. So if you want to sword fight with the Jehovah's Witnesses, this is a good place to come. Now, this is an unlikely thing to see in the Tri-Cities, a Buddhist temple. There's quite a complex here, actually. A few years ago, we stopped in here, and there was a whole bunch of monks. I mean, like a couple hundred of them, and a couple of limos, and a trailer with a casket on the back, and we didn't have any idea what was going on. So we'd stopped in here, and what was going on was there was a funeral for the head monk. And so I was just going to take a few pictures, and this young guy came out and says, "What are you doing?" So I said, "Well, I'm just taking some pictures." "Well, we're having a funeral for my dad." I'm okay. He says, "Here, I'll put you in the back of the trailer so you can be next to the casket. We're going to be going down to the cemetery, and you can videotape it." I said, "Well, I don't know if I want to do that." He says, "Well, you're sure welcome. Here, I'll help you." He moved some flowers out of the way in the back of the truck and had some guys help me get in, and so I rode all the way to the cemetery. It was just bizarre. What you're looking at here is a Muslim mosque in Kenek on Washington Street. Now, I've never seen this many cars here before, so obviously things are growing. Now, this is predominantly, at least it was last I checked, it was predominantly an East African congregation. I don't know how that's changed, but it'd be interesting to talk to some of these folks. So that brings up a number of questions about this mosque here in Kenek. We haven't been by here for a couple of years, but we noticed now the parking lot is about twice as big as it was the last time we were here. But the building hasn't changed as far as its size, so I don't think that thing is more than 1,000 square feet. And they got several dozen cars in the parking lot, which means they're probably breaking any fire code rules for occupancy. So I wonder what's going on in there. Where are all these people coming from? Well, let's see. Wait a minute. We have an open border, huh? Gee. And there's still people coming in there. There's not any room for anybody else to park, I don't think, but there's still people pouring in there.